Right now, on to the point. A beloved teacher transferred to another school after tearing up carpet in her classroom. New details on the disciplinary action against her. The ABC 10 weather team digs into California's power grid and the push to grow it faster than ever.
We've really been able to ride through some pretty hot events here in California without having to call on flex loads.
A prominent California Democrat throws his hat in the ring for Congress, aiming to succeed Nancy Pelosi, and sending in the troops.
We can always use the help, especially if demand continues to increase.
Governor Newsom deploys the National Guard to help food banks during the government shutdown.
As always, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. A teacher enlisted the use of students, hammers, and a crowbar to remove carpeting in her classroom during instructional hours. Those are among the new details that we're learning tonight about the discipline of a longtime beloved local sixth grade teacher. ABC 10's Becca Hotbegger has been following this story and brings us a new set of documents tonight.
Many parents, students, and teachers of Phoebe Hearst Elementary School have been protesting Sacramento City Unified School District's removal of longtime and beloved sixth grade teacher Janine Rupert. ABC 10 obtained documents from the district Wednesday which spell out the timeline and reasons for her discipline. On the last day of this past school year, the district says Rupert ripped up carpeting in her classroom during instructional time, enlisting the help of at least 3 students and using hammers and a crowbar to do so. It has been reported that this happened during a flea infestation, but the district said Wednesday the flea infestation had been eliminated prior to the carpet ripping incident. Work order request records from the district show Rupert asked the district on 2 occasions over the course of 2 years to remove the carpet from her room. The district declined both requests but cleaned the carpet after the first one in 2023. On August 29th, the district sent Rupert a notice of unprofessional conduct, saying you intentionally damaged public property by ripping out the carpet in your classroom, disregarding the safety and well-being of students and staff at Phoebe Hearst Elementary, and wasting instructional minutes by pulling up the carpet with student assistance during the school day. The notice says repairing and replacing the flooring in the classroom cost more than $22,000. The report suggests much of the cost came from testing for asbestos, which the district ultimately said was never exposed. Responding to the district, Rupert admitted she did attempt to remove the carpet, saying this carpet, as well as similar carpet in nearby rooms, quickly became stained, foul-smelling, frayed, and in the spring of 2025, riddled with fleas. I believe it was a potential health hazard and tripping hazard for my students, and I continually complained about it. She added, I deeply regret this choice. I should not have unilaterally tried to remove the carpet nor allowed students to assist in any way. As a result of her actions, the district reassigned Rupert to another school. In Sacramento, Becca Hotbegger, ABC 10.
And we want to mention that we reached out to Janine Rupert through her attorney and did not hear back. The district has since removed a second sixth grade teacher in response to this outcry. The district is holding a town hall for parents this Friday evening. Well, the government shutdown is heading into its 4th week. Senate Democrats today blocked a vote to reopen the government. Now hundreds of thousands of federal workers will miss another paycheck. Key federal programs are also at risk of lapsing completely. Cuts to Medicaid and healthcare subsidies are still a major sticking point, with both sides refusing to budge. In the meantime, critical resources like SNAP food benefits could dry up as soon as next month if the shutdown continues to drag on. Now, because of the anticipated delays in food benefits, Governor Gavin Newsom today announced that he will deploy the National Guard and California volunteers to help support these food banks. So take a look at this. In addition to the National Guard, the governor is fast-tracking up to $80 million in state support ahead of funding delays triggered by the government shutdown. Local food banks say that the help could not come at a better time.
Already feeding more people than we ever are before. The holidays are coming up. We could see a surge in demand because of CalFresh. There's a lot of factors that are coming together right now that could cause a hunger crisis over the next couple weeks.
This is a similar move from March 2020, when the National Guard was deployed to support food bank operations during the pandemic. State Senator Scott Wiener today officially launched his campaign to replace Nancy Pelosi in Congress, but it's all hinging on the big question of whether Pelosi plans to run for office again. So his announcement marks a major shift. He previously vowed to wait on Pelosi to decide. The San Francisco senator is citing pressure from the already active progressive challenger who entered the race in February. But political sources speculate Wiener's move might have been to outflank Pelosi.
Scott got ahead of his skis, frankly. Having someone of the speaker's stature for as long as she has been the elected member of Congress from this region.
She is not retiring. I don't know why people think she's retiring.
Politico reports Pelosi will announce whether she's going to retire next month. A spokesperson for the 85-year-old says for now, Pelosi remains focused on passing Prop 50 in the upcoming special election. Hundreds gathered outside of Attorney General Rob Bonta's office today to protest against proposed regulations to card rooms. Union members, city officials, and card room employees protested against proposed regulations that they say would effectively ban blackjack-style games and limit player-dealer games in California card rooms and cut industry jobs and revenues up to 50%. This is part of the ongoing battle between tribal casinos and card rooms across the state. They are asking the Attorney General to reconsider.
We're just asking him, do not allow the Indian tribes, for wealthy Indian tribes, to monopolize the California gaming industry. There's room for everybody to flourish and thrive.
We reached out to the Attorney General's office, who pointed us to public comments listed on their website. They said that they are not able to comment as the rulemaking process remains ongoing. Blackouts, bankruptcy, and a grid push to the brink. The look back at California's energy crisis and how those hard lessons are shaping a smarter power future.
And weather-wise, tomorrow's going to be much nicer. Sunshine returns, low to mid-70s in the valley. Still tracking a system this weekend, though. We'll talk about that coming up after the break.
But first, another headlines tonight. Sacramento families who rely on federal housing vouchers will not see disruptions to their rental subsidies for now, despite the ongoing federal government shutdown. Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency officials say they will continue to provide rental subsidies to more than 13,000 families who rely on them to keep a roof over their heads. North Carolina lawmakers gave final approval today to a new U.S. House map backed by President Trump. The map adopted could help Republicans win an additional seat by reshaping a swing district currently held by a Democrat. North Carolina is the latest state to join Trump's mid-decade redistricting push. Texas and Missouri lawmakers already redrew their maps. And interest in seasonal work is surging this year, but the number of holiday job openings likely won't meet that demand. Seasonal retail hiring is expected to fall to its lowest point since 2009 during the Great Recession. Some of the top seasonal job postings are for beauty advisors, delivery drivers, food service workers, and truck drivers.
Fall was in the air today, a cool and cloudy start to the day with temperatures feeling a little bit cooler. Let's get things off to meteorologist Brendan Minchef with a look at our forecast.
Yeah, we've been in the 80s for much of this week to this point, but we had this little system coming through, brought us some very scattered, very light showers across much of the valley and the high country, but that is starting to wind down at this hour. Still some showers up near Tahoe across I-80 and US 50, but not much in the valley. We even had a little bit of sunshine through this afternoon and early evening. Made it to only 69 in Sacramento today, 71 Stockton, 70 in Modesto, 65 Jackson, 57 in Truckee, and 56 in South Lake Tahoe. 65 now in Sacramento, 66 Stockton, 66 in Modesto as well, 70 in Colusa. Just very much a fall-like day across Northern California. We're going to continue to be below normal for the rest of this week. Thursday morning starting off in those low 50s, although I am expecting some valley fog, especially along the 99 corridor in the valley, so be aware of that. Not necessarily dense, but definitely some fog potential tomorrow morning. Thursday afternoon, though, after that fog lifts, sunshine returns. We're looking at sunny to mostly sunny skies. We're going to be in those low to mid 70s. So there was that fog in the morning, but again, it burns off by the time we get towards about lunchtime. Clear skies after that. No more rain for Thursday. Friday will be pretty nice too, but building clouds then across far northern California. We'll see that next system coming in, and it's definitely bringing rain to the north coast and the far northern part of the state up near Shasta, but just not as much as we've been talking about down here in the capital region. You see, even through Saturday afternoon, that rain starts to lighten up. Then we have some clearing. Sunday might have a few scattered showers, but for the most part, this is going to impact the higher elevations, especially along the north coast. So in terms of model rainfall totals, we're talking about a few tenths of an inch to maybe a quarter of an inch of rain through this weekend. So it's going to be disruptive, but not necessarily a washout. So just consider outdoor plans this weekend. But again, it's just not going to be a major system coming through. Nonetheless, cooler temperatures will prevail. We're going back into the 60s for this weekend. And then in the lead up to Halloween, things are looking pretty nice in those low to mid 70s.
And after the break, Brendan is going to be joining us back again for a look at California's energy crisis and how it's shaping the future of powering California. All this week on To The Point, the ABC 10 Weather Impact Team is investigating California's power grid and how it's balancing cost, climate, and demand. Demand for electricity is expected to skyrocket. Last night, we explained California's history and power innovation. Tonight, meteorologist Brendan Minchef shows us how the state is growing and its power grid.
Yeah, California's grid in 2025 is better than it was even 5 years ago, despite the numerous challenges it faces, includes increasing electrification to a more volatile climate. But getting here was not easy. There have been big successes and costly mistakes. In 2000 and 2001, blackouts rocked California.
There's a number of investigations ongoing.
It's disgusting to see that the utility companies hadn't planned for it.
Setting the stage for more change in the state's power struggle.
The California energy crisis is still debated to this day what happened. A key enabler of the energy crisis were actions of the California legislature.
Andy Campbell is the executive director of the Energy Institute at Haas at UC Berkeley. He works with a dozen energy and environmental economists researching the energy of the future, which can require examining the past.
Laws were passed in the mid-1990s. There was sort of a desire at that time to try to reform the way the energy business was structured. There were several large vertically integrated utilities. The same company owned all the power plants, they owned all the transmission lines, they owned all the distribution lines. There was sort of a desire to see if there's a different way of doing things.
Campbell says a major problem was the legislature required buyers of electricity to buy all of their electricity in a real-time basis.
Enron was not the only one, but Enron was the biggest one to manipulate the market. They'd basically tell the grid operator, oh, I'm sorry, my power plant's broken. There's a problem with the power plant, it's down. Prices would spike. Enron had some other power plants. They're now selling energy at those very high prices.
That caused supply and demand issues. When demand outpaces supply, the power grid becomes strained, and this can result in major outages. During the California energy crisis, there were more than 24 blackouts. Some of the state's biggest investor-owned utilities, such as PG&E, went bankrupt. The state's legislature passed several emergency bills with the primary goal of stabilizing the grid, and California began taking more active roles in planning new power generation and transmission lines. The majority of California's power grid is managed right here in Folsom at the California Independent System Operator, or CAISO.
Our job is to keep the lights on. I like to sometimes say that we're sort of a combination of a control tower operator and the NASDAQ. And that is that we have the responsibility for overseeing the flow of electricity across the high voltage transmission system in California and making sure that there's a constant balance of supply and demand. And we're constantly taking bids for supply and demand from market participants and balancing the system at the lowest possible cost, both within the state of California. And we actually also administer a market that covers about 80% of the western United States.
Elliot Mainzer, the president and CEO of CAISO, says that includes most of Arizona, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming.
All of this requires a lot of coordination, a lot of collaboration, and a lot of synchronization. California is sitting on a very healthy, pretty balanced portfolio, and I think part of our challenge in the years ahead is to continue to work with our energy planners to make sure that we have that portfolio that gets cleaner and cleaner and cleaner over the years.
There's a real strong partnership between us and the California ISO.
A big player in California's energy portfolio is Pacific Gas and Electric. PG&E is one of the state's and the country's largest utility companies.
We partner very closely together around where are our major load growths going to occur. And then we work together to say, well, which of these assets need to then be built out to accommodate that load?
Over the next 20 years, PG&E is forecasting an increase of 70%. Quinn Nakayama is PG&E's Senior Director of Grid Innovation, Research, and Development. He's at the forefront of grid technology and knows how important meeting 21st century demand is.
As all these industries continue to develop and rise, and especially with data centers, which have significant amounts of power draw, with things like AI, artificial intelligence, now becoming a real big thing here in California, we can't get away from the build. But where we want to do innovation is in areas where maybe we don't need to build as much. I'm going to give you an example through cars and freeways. You have the 80 freeway and the 50 freeway to be able to take people from the outer areas into Sacramento. Well, maybe too many people are driving on the 80 freeway and not enough people are driving on the 50 freeway. And now you're needing to build out new infrastructure for the 80 to accommodate all these new people. But if I'm able to take those cars and push them to the 50 freeway, now I can share the load between these freeways and still feed all of Sacramento their driving needs to be able to help grow Sacramento area, while at the same time not having to build another freeway. Well, we're doing the same thing here in our substations.
Nakayama says it's not all just about upgrades. Being smarter about how the grid distributes power is part of it too.
When the air conditioning is running, maybe I don't want to charge my car as fast. And if we can figure out how to modulate this type of stuff so it doesn't all need to suck up as much energy all at the same time, all the time, maybe we can create an environment where we'll be willing to work in that energy ecosystem, and then I don't have to do those upgrades. That doesn't have to appear on your bill, and everybody saves money.
We've done a lot of work to coordinate and anticipate issues, and we've really been able to ride through some pretty hot events here in California without having to call in Flex Alerts.
Flex Alerts were created and first issued in California during the 2000 and 2001 energy crisis. They are a measure of last resort, calling on Californians to conserve power to avoid rolling blackouts as demand outpaces supply.
It makes a big difference if consumers in relatively large numbers take just those modest steps to flex their demand for a few hours. Particularly that 4 to 9 period is the time of day when demand can still be very high. And of course, as the sun starts to set and our solar energy resources start to reduce the amount of power, that can become a strained period of the grid.
California hasn't had a Flex Alert issued since September 2022, when much of the state saw all-time record heat, but no blackouts, thanks in part to more battery storage.
Back in 2020, we only had about 200 megawatts of batteries on our grid. In the last 4 or 5 years, we've now got almost 13,000 megawatts of batteries on our system.
And by connecting to other states in the West, CAISO can send power from typically cooler states, like Idaho or Washington, to California during the summer to meet increased demand. During the winter, California can send excess power up north.
We have a grid that's bigger than the weather. We have a huge amount of transmission that connects up to the hydro resources of the Pacific Northwest. We've got transmission resources that go out into the desert Southwest, all the way out into the Intermountain West. As a matter of fact, we're also engaged in the construction of some big new transmission lines.
It's all part of meeting California's clean energy goal.
We are continually looking for new technologies and new energy procurements to get us to a net zero energy system by 2045.
2 things. 1, I do not envy their jobs. This seems like one of the most stressful jobs ever. 2, I'm actually proud. I feel like I'm a good steward of my power. Like, I'm always turning off the lights, not running too much at one time. So that was very helpful, just those reminders, because we've all seen those Flex Alerts, you know?
Yeah, and that's part of it, is these Flex Alerts have really helped us to ride through some of these really big heat events, being bigger. Having a grid bigger than the weather is part of it too. That's when we can maybe call on Arizona or Utah or someone else maybe up north to send us some power on these really hot days. But we're in a lot better shape. I said that before the story too, because we're putting batteries on the grid. So it's not just we're only generating power when the sun is shining and the wind is blowing, but we can store that power and use it when it's needed in these high demand times.
All right, Brendan, thank you for bringing us this story. And I also want to mention that we will have more of California's power struggle coming up tomorrow night right here on To The Point. Rob Karlmark shows us how solar, wind, and hydropower are driving toward its carbon-free energy goals. You can also stream the series right now on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. We're back right after this break. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you inviting us into your home each and every night. And don't forget, if you have something you think we should be looking into, you can always reach out to our team at tothepoint@abc10.com. And I also want to say go Kings. They are playing in Arizona tonight. We will have all the details and catch you up on everything you need to know about their first game of the season on Late News tonight at 11. Don't forget, you can also download our free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app to get all the news that you need to know whenever you want.